We started this series to really, again, shine a light on Portlanders whose talent may have taken them elsewhere, whether they were born here, they lived here for a little bit. We really want to give you your flowers, talk a little bit about what being from the city or, having an awareness of the city means to you and really find out how you feel about being Portland famous. Isaiah, a lot of people know you affectionately as the Old Spice guy. Some may know you as well as a former wide receiver in the NFL. And others may know you from recently starring in Cross as Detective John Sampson. But I don't think a lot of people know that you were born in Portland, Oregon.
Yeah, I've got a very big family, and so a lot of it is in Portland. My mother was born in Portland, and she's part of the Bird family. And
Okay.
this is back before, I think around World War II, they had like a sandwich shop or a restaurant that they would, serve like soldiers and stuff. And my father, he came into town, and again, I wasn't there. I hear these stories like, all my siblings are 10 years older than me. So I hear these stories and they talk about like how my father used to, he was in the Air Force. He came in and there used to be this like place where like all the soldiers would go and they would be like a dance almost,
I love
like
it.
so my mom met him at this dance, and then my grandfather, Robert Bird, he had like a sandwich shop that he would, that all the enlisted men would go to and stuff. So like all my mother's sisters and her brothers, they all lived in Portland. So and then she had 10 siblings, so
Wow.
or nine siblings.
Wow. And you
So
come from a big family as well, right? Like you
oh
have a
yeah, there's
sibling.
seven of us.
Okay.
Yeah. So
Okay.
and like I said, there's I believe four of us were born in Portland.
Wow. So you haven't lived here for a while.
No, but I go back often though. So
Okay. So when you come back, what does that trip look like for you? Where's like the first place you stop in
man,
and
that's
go to?
so I didn't like the last time I was there before I started working with Wyden Kennedy there
Okay.
was for my grandmother's funeral. We were there, and that was like when I was in college. So
Okay.
then I didn't get back for a long time because I was off, finding myself and, trying to get jobs and doing whatever. And then I was lucky to get the job, the Old Spice job from Wyden Kennedy, which is a Portland-based
Yes.
company. So when I went back, for me, it was like just everything was different. Like I was like, man, this is like everything's changed. Like there's like the ice skating rink at the Lloyd Center, like all this stuff was different now, and I don't know if I want to say gentrified, but there was an area where it felt like it was like it was more hipster, like the vibe was more hipster, and it was just a little bit different vibe than what I remembered. But Powell Books was there, and because that was like some a place that my uncle would take me to try to find comic books because I told him I love comic books, so he took me over. Like they'd leave me with him, and he would be like, all right, let me go ahead and let's take this dude to get some comic book. So he would take me over there. So that was always like something that I always want to come back to and visit.
What is something that you think from a city that like has enriched you as an artist? You went and you started as a football player. How do you think, is there something, whether it's the culture from the city, before it turned hipster, is there something where you feel like here's something in Los Angeles that really shapes me as an artist or as an athlete? Is there something like that that you feel like, is it books for you? Is it the
Thing.
music scene?
Yeah, that's interesting because when I did get back to Portland, and I've been there several times, and now I just go sometimes, like for example, in 2017 there was the eclipse, so I remember like and there was somewhere where it was like really evident, and I think it was in Washington, but I made sure that I traveled down to Portland, because I was like, I'm in the northwest, so
Yeah,
I gotta go home.
yeah.
So I traveled down, and what I did was I took like I do photography on the side just as something as a hobby. I think that's side projects like taking pictures, or whether it be poetry or what Johnny Ray said, like, just going to a bookstore and really like just sitting down and reading, and getting into stuff like literature. Those are the kind of things that kind of like help me create, and kind of grow as an artist, you know, just being able
Yeah.
to do stuff like that. But what I thought you were going to ask me is it what was, you know, if there's something about Portland that I really kind of admired and really resonated with. And that, you know, like growing up, I always knew that Portland had a really strong like black community. Like it was kind of
Mhm.
small, but it
Mhm.
was really like like, you know, close knit. Like everybody
Mhm.
knew each other and everybody like kind of like
Yes.
yeah.
NEP.
So it's yes, exactly. That was
That's
so
what we
tight.
call it. Mhm.
So, you know, and we've talked about you know, Art Williams and another Portlander, you know,
Mhm.
like when I'm on set with him and Johnny Ray, like we all discuss like things and I always ask them, I'm like, well, what's it like now? Like, you know, like tell me what it's like now and you
Mhm.
tell me like how, you know, how people are, if there's places to go, kind of like, you know, how people interact with each other. And they're good about letting me know that stuff.
Yeah, I think Portland is always reinventing itself every decade or so. But I agree with you. Is like growing up in the NEP, we called ourselves NEP kids. It was ever present that the Black community was there. It was strong. It was proud. It had a presence. And I think a little bit of that over. I mean, I came back 20 years later, and a lot of it's kind of it's segregated in a way that is siloed. And I feel like I love highlighting again artists from all over who are from Portland, have some connection to Portland, and can bring, can bring especially artists together for whatever reason, whether it's a premiere of something, or a screening of something or a festival. I feel like that's really important to bring us back to our roots. I
Let me
want
give a
to,
shout out real quick, just real
yeah,
quick.
yes,
Um,
do it.
well, of course, my family, the Bird family.
Hey,
But two of my sisters, my sister Tammy, my sister Renee, they they went to high school out there. So if they see this, I just wanted to get them their shout outs.
I love it. Shout it. Tell me a little bit about,
And my other sister Naima was born there also. So if
okay,
she sees
shout out
this,
to Naima.
and if
Don't,
she sees this and I didn't give that shout out,
yes,
she'll get on me. So
don't leave her out.
yeah.
Um, Tell me a little bit about what being a lead, co-star with Aldous and Johnny meant to you on what, became a number one network show in what was it, 110 different countries. Did you feel, was there any sort of pressure for representation? Did you feel,
No, you know, our showrunner Ben Watkins, he was just so good at weaving it in. So it was just it was unapologetic, but at the same time, it was just kind of something that was just baked in. Like you didn't have to try, you know what I mean? It was just there, you know, like with the way our even between Aldous and our like the partners, like their camaraderie, it was a brotherhood that you saw that you don't normally see with two black men, you know, where it wasn't like stereotypical and it wasn't derogative, you know, it was just a pure love between two men that was just like, you know, they were brothers. Um, and even when we were like, you know, the way we talked to Johnny Ray's character and the way we like interact with him, it was like almost we were all of the same, like, you know, the same place, and we were almost like, you know, like we want to help him. Like, why are you doing this? You know what I mean? Like we were almost, even though we were trying to catch him, it's like we were looking out for him in a way, you know? It's like, damn, man, like don't go down that road, you know? Like, come on, you're better than that. Like that's how I felt about everything. It was just such a the way that Ben he wrote the series was just I mean, like I said, it was so unapologetic and baked in that we just felt this like that our culture was being represented the way we wanted to represent it.
our audience is for Portland events and film, but mainly for film, our audience is a lot of producers, a lot of writers, directors, people who want to create, people who are trying to get into this field, right? This industry. Is there some sort of advice, wisdom that you take or that you give out when you're talking to people and talking to our audience about if someone comes to you and they say, "Hey, I want to be an actor. I want to go into commercial work. Um, I even want to just pick up a camera and start taking photos." What's something that you often tell people or you find yourself?
Man, do not be
Um,
afraid to go back to school. do not be afraid to go back, get your MFA, get your BA, get your AA, whatever it is, go back to school, get educated. You know what I mean? Like become multifaceted. You know, that would be my advice.
I love it. I love it. Thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it. You
Oh,
are now officially, and as you have been, Portland famous, if you didn't know.
I appreciate it.
So please,
That's dope.
please come and visit us. And
That's dope.
we really appreciate you.